Hello, Michelle V and my fellow friend. Today, me and my partner will be presenting on the topic suicide in Southeast Asia, focusing specifically on the situation in South Korea and Japan. My name is FATIMAH AZZAHRA binti AZIZUL.
Hi, my name is RAFEEZA ROSLAN. Now, I will start with the introduction. Suicide has become a serious and growing issue across Southeast and East Asia, especially among teenagers facing intense academic, social, and family pressures. Combined with strong cultural stigma around mental health, this pressure often leaves young people without support. Suicide is no longer an isolated problem, but a widespread concern affecting families, schools, and communities. Examining South Korea and Japan help us understand how these pressures impact youth mental health and why suicide rates continue to rise. This presentation highlights the regional challenge of youth suicide, its severe impact, and the cultural and the institutional gaps that must be addressed. Next, the purpose. The purpose of this presentation is to show that addressing suicide in South Korea and Japan requires more than acknowledging rising numbers. It demands understanding that deep-rooted cultural, social, and institutional factors behind these tragedies. Suicide is not just an individual issue, but reflects larger systemic problems. Limited data access, insufficient mental health funding, and persistent stigma hinder interventions. Meaningful changes requires governments and institutions to prioritize transparent data, stronger mental health infrastructure, and early support for youth. In short, improving mental health care, increasing resources, and addressing cultural barriers are essential to reducing suicide rates and protecting vulnerable young people. I will pass to Zara to explain the background.
Okay, to understand this issue better, let's move on to the background of the topic. Suicidal ideation can range from a simple wish to disappear to more serious as described. In Southeast Asia and East Asia, a significant issue regarding mental health is influenced by deep-root stigma, which discourages young people from expressing their emotional struggles. In South Korea, strict data restriction hinder the development of effective suicide prevention strategies, make it hard to identify at-risk individuals. Consequently, many young people are overlooked despite having a modern health system. And in contrast, Japan has seen a decrease in overall suicide rates. However, this decline does not apply to students. This stigma leads to underreporting of emotional distress, while rising student suicide indicate that academic pressure remains a significant issue. Okay, next. Now, if you look at the graph one, you can see the main causes of death among South Korean aged 10 to 24 from 2010 to 2021. Okay, so over this 11-year period, the data show a significant shift in youth mortality trends. Okay, at the beginning of the decade, accidents were the leading cause of death. But as the years progressed, suicide gradually rose and eventually surpassed accident, becoming the number one cause of death for this age group. By 2021, suicide accounted for more than 10% of all deaths among South Korean youth, far exceeding that rates from accident and cancer both fell to below 5%. The graph also highlight that while accidental death and cancer-related death show a steady decline, suicide rates display a sharp upward trend, especially after 2016. Okay, move to the analysis. The data show that suicide has become the most significant threat to young South Koreans, rising sharply after 2016, while death from accident and cancer continue to decline. This suggests that physical safety have improved, but mental health challenges have boosted. The rise in suicide aligns with increasing academic competition and emotional pressure, which many young people struggle to cope with. These sociological pressure appear to outweigh biological or physical risk, showing that the main threat today come from mental and social stress, not physical danger. Okay, next I will pass to Rafiza.
Thank you, Zara, for the clear explanation on the graph 1. Moving on to the graph 2, the stack bar chart visualizes the rise in student success across Japan's schools level. The stack bar chart shows student success in Japan from 2016 to 2022, revealing a 50% increase and highlighting growing mental health concerns among school-aged children. Divided by elementary, junior high, and high school levels, the data shows that while high school students account for the largest shares, success among younger students all are also rising, indicating that stress and emotional strain is increasingly affect children across all ages. This makes it clear that the problem is not limited to older teenagers, but impact Japan's entire education system. Moving to the analysis. Based on the stack bar chart, student success in Japan shows a consistent and worrying upward trend from 2016 to 2022, increasing about 50%, breaking the data down by school level, elementary, junior high, and high school. All categories shows gradual rises. High school students remain the largest group, but numbers are also increasing among younger students. This suggests two key insights, which is academic pressure is affecting students at earlier ages, and insufficient school-based mental health supports mean prevention efforts are not reaching students effectively. Overall, despite national declines in suicide rates, school-aged individuals remain a high-risk group, emphasizing the urgent need for targeted in-school interventions. I will pass for Zara for the conclusion.
Okay, thank you. In conclusion, data from South Korea and Japan indicate that academic pressure, social expectation significantly contribute to youth suicide rates. Despite advancement in suicide prevention, young students remain at risk, particularly school children. To improve this situation, enhanced policy, increased funding, and robust support systems are necessary, alongside fostering upon open discussion about mental health to mitigate stigma and encourage help-seeking behavior among young people. So that's all from us. Thank you for watching.